Queen PR, Krista B, those wrestling girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless. Podcast bringing up women in wrestling. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? It's your favorite girls, those wrestling girls. It's your girl, Krista B.
And Queen PR.
And I know you guys have been waiting for a long time for us to hit them intros again.
I know.
We've been booked and busy and blessed. Thank God.
Yes, we were just talking about that too.
Absolutely. So we've really been busy, but we decided to come back to you guys feeling fully refreshed.
So refreshed.
We definitely had to take some time off, besides doing the live streams, which is amazing. Thank you all for following us on Twitch and things of that nature. We definitely appreciate it.
Become affiliates.
Yes.
That is like a milestone that we really set that goal. And I gotta thank everybody that hangs out with us every week.
Every week. Since day one, nonstop.
While we
talk homework
about wrestling.
It's like human nature at this point for them. But when we came back from WrestleMania, I always talked about how my TikTok algorithm literally shifted to everything wrestling that wasn't on our Those Wrestling Girls TikTok. And one TikToker in particular, I've been following them before I knew that they were a wrestling fan. And I'm just like,
yes. So that was the cool part. So I was checking out their TikTok and I was like, oh my God, there's reviews about everything.
Yes. I think, of course, the pandemic introduced us to people we never knew existed, which one of the best parts of the pandemic, right next to, staying home and the stimulus checks. But however, this person, I first came across this person. They was talking about the issues and the political issues and things that was going on in the world, mentioning George Floyd, staying on top of that. And then it kind of went to entertainment and reality TV and things like that. And then I didn't see them in a while. And it's okay to take a social media break. Algorithms is all messed up or whatever. But then boom, slapped me dead in the face. I was like, I remember as soon as I saw that WrestleMania 39 preview, because we all felt the same. We all felt the same about WrestleMania 39. We all felt the same about Raw after WrestleMania. And I think we should just let the special guests up because we can't have them wait in. So please welcome, without further ado, TikTok influencer, the one and only Pablo the Don.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you guys?
I love your hat.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
She's a big Stone Cold fan.
I gotta give him some space
Same.
now.
I won't say my fave, but definitely top 5.
Oh no, we're gonna ask, so you gotta say it.
All right.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling?
I'm doing good. I'm enjoying life. This is my first time doing a wrestling podcast, so I'm super excited.
Oh my God.
Yeah, wrestling has always been a big part of me, but not necessarily my content. It was always in my clothes though. I was always wearing a wrestling shirt or something was in the background that had wrestling in it, but I feel like it wasn't until around WrestleMania where I really started. Actually, what was the AEW pay-per-view right before Revolution that I really started talking about it online, and people was like, "You like wrestling? What?" And I'm like, yeah, I'm forever and always going to be a wrestling fan. So I'm super excited to be here. Thank y'all for having me. And
thank you for answering so quickly. I'm just like, oh, this person's a TikTok star. They're going to have a publicist. We answer their emails for them. And I'm going to have to wait because we work in media. So we know what it's like to just have to wait for publicists and management and what can be said and what cannot be said. And so I'm just so glad it's you. It's authentically you. And welcome to Those Wrestling Girls.
Yeah, thank you. I've definitely seen y'all on TikTok and I've seen some of y'all interviews before. And so I'm super excited. This is an honor for me. I'm super happy that my first podcast gets to be with 2 Black women. That's yes, amazing. So thank you for having me. I'm so excited to talk about whatever.
Everything wrestling. Okay, so we got to jump from the beginning because P noticed your hat. I'm Team Rock. She's Team.
Should we just get it out the way?
Because get it out the way
everyone that comes on our show, so we're known for being Attitude Era babies, and as you can see, Chris is a big Rock fan. I grew up a Stone Cold fan. So it became a big thing. Like when you come on the show, you have to basically say like, kind of like what you rep. Like, but you came rep. So
it's really crazy because the entirety of like my personality online is modeled after The Rock. But the entirety of my style is terms of like aesthetics and clothes and kind of attitude towards things is Stone Cold down. Like definitely DTA, definitely like No Mercy type thing. So it's like I put both of my favorites together and created what is Pablo. Like I saw The Rock do this random interview where he was like, The Rock is Dwayne Johnson dialed up to 10. And I was like, take who I am in real life, dial that up to 10. But then I saw how Stone Cold approached things and just had this certain like cachet attitude about him that was like just drew me to him too. So it's like combining the charismatic with like the brashness of a Stone Cold, and that's how you get Pablo pretty much.
Wow. I think that's the first we've heard, like kind of that mix between them, because it's hard to choose. Like even I, had to later on admit that I did love The Rock. Like he's definitely in like my, I'm like, I just have a preference. So I love that you was like, I got inspired by both, because you can arguably say they're 1A, 1B, what even if it's closer than that.
For sure. Like they definitely go hand in hand for me. I think both of them play such an important part into like my childhood and even helping me form who I am as an adult. It's so crazy. Like I always used to joke online like The Rock's my dad. Like, and I still joke about it. Like The Rock's my dad.
I think that's why I came onto you at one of your TikToks I saw. I'm just like, come on,
my dad. I made a TikTok about his rap, and I was like, my dad is out here rapping, and like I always very much felt like that's my dad. Like, that if I ever met him in person, like I would probably have a mental breakdown because of how much he meant to me as a kid. Like, but the same thing with Stone Cold. Like it's the same sort of. They both had the same impact at the same time, and I think like people don't talk about the rarity of that happening, especially in wrestling, where it's like two people like at the same time in the same company going head to head, basically going like I know they were going battling with WCW, but at the same time they're also battling each other for like supremacy as like the most over person not in the company, in the world. And so like I don't know, I would probably have a meltdown talking to either one of them. So yeah, I can't pick between them. I have a Rock hat, I got a Stone Cold hat, I got a Rock shirt, Stone Cold, like both of them. Matter of fact, hold on.
Oh man, what is it?
Oh
my God. Not too far behind The Rock.
They both sit on one of my vinyl record player things next to each other as always, right next to Eddie Guerrero and his lowrider too.
Love
and it's
that.
like
You
them.
have a lowrider?
Yeah. Hold on, I'll show you.
So epic.
Love that.
Yeah. I have
my
my
God,
Eddie Funko Pop.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
I need one now. I gotta add that to my Funko collection.
Yeah, that is so cute.
So it's always been
curious. Like, where are you from? How did you get into wrestling?
So I'm from Florida. I'm from South Florida, closer to the Miami area, about an hour north of Miami. And honestly, my siblings, I've got 4 older siblings, 6, 7, 8 years older than me. 3 actually, 3, 6, 7, and 8 years older than me. And honestly, since I was born, I've been watching wrestling. Like I don't remember my earliest wrestling memory is actually like Chris Jericho making his debut on Raw, where he cuts off The Rock. So that's my earliest wrestling memory. And so like they just like I was their little sister, so they're doing all the wrestling moves on me. I'm getting Stone Cold stunned, I'm getting rock bottom, I'm getting tombstone pile drived into pillows and all this stuff. I got a nice cool scar from my brother pretending to sling me into ropes, and he actually slung me into our mantle and I cracked my face.
God.
So it's like I've always been into wrestling. It's always been an important part of my childhood since literally 99. Like 99 is the foundation of me and like wrestling. And yeah, I've always watched. We always were begging our parents for pay-per-views. We hated Sundays because we had to go to church and we couldn't watch the pay-per-views. Like it was horrible. Only WrestleMania was allowed to be bought, or it had to be like the biggest match ever for us to buy something else. So yeah, it's always been part of my life, always foundational, always shaped who I was as a person.
Got you. So if you can't choose between The Rock and Stone Cold, who would you say is your favorite of all time that kind of made that first impression on you?
Ooh, that's hard, but I feel like this might be a bit of a throwback. Once I got into him, it became Dusty. It's Dusty.
Okay.
And like everyone likes a joke. My mom was super into wrestling when she was a kid too, and she was just like, she would go back and show me his tapes, and I'm just like, she was like, yeah, this is like the first black famous wrestler, and I was like, what? And she was like, no, for real. And she was like, he gets it. And I started watching his tapes, and like he would do the lisp and like the whole get up and like what's up, baby, and like all that stuff, and I would start imitating it. Honestly, walking around the house, be like, blue eyed soul, baby. Like I would just start doing stuff like that.
Oh my
I
god.
love that so much. It's
So-
crazy you said that because I started to gravitate towards Dusty. Like I always knew who he was, and I always knew that he stood for, you know, he was most famous for his feud with Ric Flair and the Four Horsemen and the Hard Times promo. Like who doesn't love the Hard Times promo?
Right.
But then watching his Legends on A&D, I literally was genuinely tearing up the entire episode because it's just
That
like
was so good.
he literally related to those common folks, essentially us. Like they
Yep.
look like people who look like us. He didn't have a racist bone in his body. He, you know, the way that his parents raised him, he was raised right in a world where he came from an era where segregation was at its all-time high. So for Dusty to come and emulate that and to portray that on TV and his promos, it's just like
exactly. And at the root of it all, I feel like what I do now and what I aim to do for the rest of my life is tell stories. And I feel like he is one of the best storytellers ever. So who better to be like inspired by and held up? He wasn't the greatest in the ring, but he was going to be the most charismatic. He was going to be the best on the mic, and he was going to tell you a story. Like that Ric Flair feud took him 3 times to beat him. And if that doesn't show like the American dream, the resilience, the gusto, the like all of that, just all of that put together is like, wow, these are the types of like long-term stories I want to tell. Like this is it. This is how you do it in a wrestling format. But I want to do it in a different format. But even then I'm like, do I want to wrestle at some point? Like
you never know. You never
know.
know.
At one point, and then I was just like, I'm too bruised up from non-wrestling activities that I can't.
See,
get out the bed, you'd be like, oh no.
I only said I would because I saw Awesome Kong one time, and I was like, oh, a big girl out here wrestling. I could do it. I could do it. I think I could do it. And I had played sports in college and stuff, and I was like, maybe I want to. Now I'm getting a little too up there in age, and I'm like, no, reel it back.
30s, you gotta reevaluate life. Like,
exactly. I already got a metal rod in my ankle.
You know, all that.
You got a metal rod in your ankle. I have tears in my rotator cuff. I got herniated disc in my back and my neck. Like it's like, what did I do? I don't remember throwing anything.
It's like I don't think even if
how?
I got into it, I don't think my bump card would be very high. So I feel like I would have to be trotted out as like a special attraction.
That part. Like
I can see you doing like backstage interviews or being like a featured like special guest or something like that.
So because of like who I am, I can't stay tied to one thing at one time too long. Like I just gotta shift. So like now my current goal is like, yo, I've never seen a high profile announcer. Like I've never we've had Beth Phoenix. They gave Renee Paquette a little bit of a chance, but like there's never been anyone that's like on a Jem Ross level or a Excalibur level. Like why can't I be that? That's like my new thing is like I want to do that. I want to be that.
We're gonna do it together because that's literally one of the goals I've manifested all the time. Like being for me to be the first African American woman ringside announcer in WWE. Because you don't see them. You don't see them. Like, and Pat McAfee, he was up there and they took him away from me. And I'm just like, why?
I love that man so much. He fits so perfectly into wrestling, and like he's got a great personality. He's my favorite announcer that's out there right now. Is Pat McAfee, straight up.
I literally fell like when he came out at WrestleMania because nobody knew, of course, and I literally fell on P, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" And I'm just like, "Girl, it's Pat McAfee." I started crying and all that was real ugly. It got real ugly real quick. But so you say you've been watching wrestling. The first thing you remember you watching wrestling is from when Chris Jericho debuted, and how it's crazy because you said that wrestling wasn't really allowed in your house on Sundays, and you can only watch WrestleMania. For me, it was so opposite. My brother, and that's who got me into wrestling, he would literally record, like he'll buy the pay-per-view and he'll record every pay-per-view and we'll watch it on tape. Because you know how it used to come on
Yep.
Sundays,
Yep.
they'll play the little pictures and sound effects on Monday Night Raw.
Yep.
And then Tuesday, the encore come back on pay-per-view.
Exactly.
He's like, yep, nope, we're gonna record it. That's it. I remember the first match that I watched that I still can't watch to this day, which is the I Quit match between Rock and Mankind. That's the only one I can't stomach. Like even when I was watching Legends yesterday, National Treasures yesterday, and it was Mick Foley part, and they even played the little skit. And he was just like, say I quit, and he over here breathing hard, somebody, you're gonna have to kill me. That's when the TV goes off. Cause no, you're not.
Literally.
Me. Has there ever been a match like that? You was just like, maybe I can revisit it now, or maybe I can't yet.
Mick Foley and Triple H at Royal Rumble 2000.
See, and I love
Hell
that
in a
one.
Cell.
That one does not bother me.
It was hard. It was so hard for me because at the time, right, when we were watching it, right, or I think, that was the thing I was going to say. Eventually, I ended up, like, my dad used to play in an over 40 league, and the guy that would run the gym, he would tape all the shows. So he would give me the tapes, like, starting in, like, 2000. So then I never missed a pay-per-view ever. So then I would get the tapes from him. So he gave me the tape for Royal Rumble 2000. And at the time, I was like, oh, Mick Foley, like, the retirement, it was like, he's going to retire. Little do we know he was coming back in, like, 9 weeks at WrestleMania. But, like, it was, like, the retirement match. And I didn't want to see him retire because it's, like, my brothers had showed me tapes of him getting thrown off Hell in a Cell and, like, the early Mankind, like, deranged, crazy days of his feud with The Undertaker and Paul Bearer getting involved. So, like, that match, I think that's also the match where Triple H has that wood spoke stabbed through his leg too, and it was just gory. It was bad. It was so bad. Brutal. So just like watching everything he put his body through, it was really hard for me to watch for a long time. But now I go back and I can stomach it. I can watch it. I think the things that are hard for me to stomach and watch, which is so crazy, is entrance music. Really? To this day, there is 3 wrestlers where if I hear their music, I'm gonna cry, which is if I hear the glass shatter, I would cry. If I hear
every time, every fucking time.
We've heard it. I think we've heard Stone Cold Steve Austin's glass shatter like 3 times now in person.
And it's crazy. If you smell tears, immediate tears.
Dying on site.
And then the last one is if I hear Metalingus, if I hear Edge's theme song, I will lose my shit. Like it is just like a oh my God. And I remember watching Royal Rumble 2020 when he returned, and I was literally like a bucket of tears. Like I could not stop crying. Like it is bad. Like for whatever reason, once I grew up, I started forming this attachment to Edge because I liked heels. And like Edge became my favorite wrestler. And anytime I would hear Metal English just straight up crying, to this day, I cannot control it. Like my girlfriend will be sitting next to me and I'll be like, oh man, I'm about to cry. She's like, why? And I go, because Edge is about to fight. And I just always cry when he comes out. It's so bad. And like, as soon as I hear it, just tears, just buckets. And it's just because of the memories. It's that's what it is. It's the memories.
It's so
and I like vouch for wrestling because there's not many things that can give you like those moments that like where you like can't explain it. Like Friday night and Saturday night, I was literally crying my eyes out as soon as Zelina came out, to the point when she went to the back, just because those moments that you just can't like when people are like, oh my God, you still watch wrestling, and it's just like you watch it like for those moments.
You have to. I mean everything.
Me and my girlfriend joke all the time. She's like, I can't get you to cry for nothing, but let me put on a wrestling tape and you're just a button. I'm like, it's just everything that world means to me. Everything it helped me escape, everything it made feel better. It doesn't matter where I am. I'm always going to have an attachment to wrestling, and I'm always going to cry at certain things because it's just going to bring me back to a certain specific moment. And it could be a different one this time from the last time, but it's always going to bring me back to something where I'm like, oh my God, I remember when this happened. I remember what it smelled like, what I ate for dinner, and just tears. And it's just like, whoa.
Yeah. It's like that. Like you mentioned when Edge returned at Royal Rumble in 2020, like we know that day was definitely a bittersweet day because we lost Kobe. But what really stuck out, besides WWE, everybody, the whole world was literally mourning Kobe. We had 2 of the biggest returns that we wasn't even expecting to return, because not only did Edge return, but we also had Naomi return.
Yeah,
and that right there, it was just like people were able to get over the grief for that small Right.
Yeah, that one escape
Like,
real quick.
yes, just to applaud her, come out in all her beauty, with all her natural hair, and and do amazing.
Amazing. Yeah.
And then was shortly after that, actually had a chance of interviewing her, speaking to her about that moment and more. And she was the one who was like, I can get into wrestling at the age that I am. I said, no, my name is not DDP. I'm not doing that. But
I love that.
I'm not doing that, girl. I'll stand and cheer you on the sides. But fast forward to her return now in Impact.
Impact.
Like,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on Naomi's return on Impact? Like, from her walking out at WWE, her dispelling all the rumors finally, and her genuinely being happy in Impact. What are your
You
thoughts?
you know, like, as much as I think now, especially with like AEW being around, people really love to just like crap all over WWE, which I think is kind of unfair in a lot of ways. But I think when it comes to Naomi and Sasha, especially Naomi, I think the best thing for her to do was to leave WWE. I don't
Mhm.
think, and I think they've had a long-standing issue with treating Black women, especially darker skinned Black women, Jazz, Jacqueline, with the amount of respect that they deserve, despite a lot of those women being the foundations of the women they prop up, like Jacqueline
100%.
cheering Trish Stratus,
Trish.
like
She made
things like,
Trish. Let's be
yeah, like things
real.
like that. So to see Naomi like be like, you know what, I'm done with this. I understand that like maybe I can't do a New Japan like Sasha right now. I understand who I am in this world. Like let me like figure it out what's best for me. So for her going to Impact and actually choosing not to go to AEW, whatever that situation was, for me, it felt like that's the best thing for you to do, because not
Right.
only, like she said, does Impact have the best history of treating women's wrestling in like period, just
Right.
period.
That's a
But
fact.
also like I think the things that she's a superstar to me, but I think the things that she potentially could have worked on or needed to work on is things she can do in Impact. Like I think like her mic skills are going to get incredibly better, which I never thought were bad, but I think they're just
Because
going to
it's
improve.
without the chain, like without the chains, like it's like she can be
Exactly. She
her.
can just be yourself. And I also think the caliber of talent that's over there, like you've got a Deanna Perrazzo, you
Mhm.
got a Jordan Grace, you've got like
Right.
girls who really, really don't come up in the WWE style
Right.
of wrestling, who really just wrestle and cut their teeth on the indie scene. Not to
Right.
mention you got Mickey James over there too, where Mickey
Mhm.
James started in TNA. The first ever thing she ever did in TNA was be in a faction with CM Punk. So like you've got these people that you are familiar with, but also new girls to like do things
Bless
with.
you.
The only thing I want Naomi to do in Impact is get rid of the rear view, because I just don't think it's a good finisher. I don't think it's going to finish nobody. But other than that,
I think it's time for you. Yeah, I think it's time for her to
Time for
change
a
her
change,
finisher,
yeah.
especially going to Impact. And like you said, the talent over there, the different matchups.
yes,
Because as much as like we grew up pretty much WWE loyalists for the most part, just because of what you said, the emotional, the legacy that it has in our lives. So it's very I had nothing against other promotions, but I always gravitated towards WWE. So a year ago, I was terrified that Mercedes and Trinity were gonna leave. I was just like, no, because to me, I'm just like, where am I gonna see them? But then you realize, like, oh shit, Mercedes got me staying up watching New Japan. Trinity got me finding the Access channel. Like,
right.
oh, you watch it?
I'm over here
So
searching for them.
right, exactly. So did you grow up watching like WCW, or were you just?
Yeah, it was full throttle, anything you can get your hands on. Like I remember
Mm,
my brother was watching a lot of like Great Muta and Juicing Thunder Liger and like people like that. He
wow.
was watching New Japan and got me into pro wrestling Noah. So like I really became like a big wrestling, like not just WWE. Obviously I was a loyalist, but like not just WWE. He was like, you need to learn these different styles. He had me watching tapes from like Britain, like William Regal over in Britain type stuff.
Wow.
And so like I really just became like a fan of wrestling in general. Like I knew it gave me a lot of insight into what is WWE style versus what are the different global styles. And it made it easier for me when like an AEW came around to be able to adapt, to be like, this is what's on the indie scene. Also, a thing a lot of people don't know is Ring of Honor was filmed in Florida. So I was going to Ring of Honor shows as a kid,
Mm,
a lot of Ring of Honor shows. Like I got to see, like really blessed, Sami Zayn and
wow.
Kevin Owens and Adam Cole, Roderick or what's his name, Roderick Strong, and
Magic
like
Strong.
Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish and like Tyler Black or Seth Rollins. Like I got to see all of them before they were who they were on the Indies and at Ring of Honor. I got to see the great the Briscoe brothers, which is like a like yo, like
Yeah.
one of the best things I've ever seen. Like I've got to see all these like stalwarts in indie wrestling because I lived in Florida and I could go. So it was everywhere, but WWE was just the consistent programming. And we
Yeah.
watched WCW because at the time, until Stone Cold and The Rock came around, really like yo, they were talking about hip hop. They had Dennis Rodman over there. They had Karl Malone. Like it was like, yo, that's the show for the blacks right there. That's the show for us.
Everybody.
Like Scott Hall was tying his
bandana
like he was Tupac. My brother's like, yo, he dead.
Like he was Tupac.
Yeah, like they was like, yo,
Tupac left the two things out. Scott Hall would come tied up, and I never watched Well, clearly I've watched some WCW because I know those moments, but when you look at it that way, I'm like, damn, did I miss out?
They did have a different flag to it.
But to be honest, after a certain time, no, you didn't, because then Vince Russo goes over there and he kind of ruins it, and then you get a lot like Jeff Jarrett. Then David Arquette becomes champion. The only cool part that was still left was like Sting, and we had watched The Crow when we were kids, and I was like, yo, this Sting character is kind of dope. And my brothers were used to like red, white, and blue tight like neon color Sting, and I'm like, nah, this dude right here, this is the real Sting right here. Like, so it was a good mix, but like we always we taped WCW and we watched WWE live. Okay. Like that's how we
like the viewership.
Yeah. We're giving WWE our money, but we're gonna go back and watch that on Wednesday. We're gonna watch it Tuesday, Wednesday, so we can catch up, you know.
The more you talk, the more I am glad that we were your first wrestling podcast that you were on. Just because you're like such a fan like we were. Do you think you would have become a content creator if it wasn't for your love of and respect for the art of professional wrestling?
Nah, definitely not. Like I think I always say this, like so many things in pop culture and history have like helped me get to where I am now and have shaped me. Like one of the big things, it's like wrestling, music, obviously, but like mainly Missy Elliott, like those things. And it was important for me to see myself. So like seeing Missy be herself, cool. That made me love music. Seeing The Rock, seeing Booker T, seeing all these Black people doing something that like, you know, my brother's telling me, you know, in the 90s, it's really just about like Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart and like all these different like white guys for all intents and purposes. Like seeing all these Black people start to come up and really make a name for themselves, like wrestling definitely played a part in it. Like I said, the whole personality was created off of melding Stone Cold and The Rock. And I'm like, how can I bring that energy to just making content? So no, I don't think I would have ever got into content creating had I not seen wrestling, especially promos and interviews. No, I wouldn't have, especially if I wasn't watching like dirt sheets and like kayfabe with Sean Oliver and stuff on YouTube and saying like, figuring out what kayfabe was a big thing for me. I'm like, yo, so like they be acting like this, but like really be like, oh, I can use that. Like I could do that online.
I was recently on a podcast and they asked us what was a moment. No, I think maybe Krista asked what was a moment where you realized like it wasn't wrestling wasn't real. Like, do you remember that moment where you were like, oh, wait a minute?
I'm being so for real. It was a double whammy. My mom was like, it was like a double whammy, and it was Christmas time. So she was like, I just want you to know, Santa don't pay for nothing in here, and wrestling is not real. I was like 5, and I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, no, legit. She was like, yeah, I pay for these things. And I'm like, no. What are you talking about? Wrestling is not real. Because I just saw Mankind get cracked over the head 10 times with a steel chair, and you're telling me that's real? Like he was real deal bleeding. Like no, that's
real deal bleeding.
She was like, no, the outcomes are predetermined and da da da. And I'm like, okay, but like, do we know the outcomes before it happens? She's like, no. Then I said, it's real to me. Like
what part?
I don't know.
Childhood, don't ruin my moment.
Yeah, I'm like, as long as I don't know, and that's like for me, I didn't have the words back then, but now it's always just like, y'all watch movies, that should predetermine. Yeah. Y'all watch TV shows. That's the whole
watch it all the time, knowing the ending. So
and the whole thing I explain to people is like wrestling is storytelling in its truest art form. They're like, what do you mean? I said, you combine all the fun stuff about like TV and movies, right? You combine the script writing and all this stuff, but throw in physicality where the main actor is doing all his own stunts. You telling me that's not badass? How?
Right.
Like that's true storytelling. It's a story with words, but also a story with actions. And I'm like, and when you really get into it, you see the story being able to unfold in multiple ways. Like they tell half the story outside the ring, the other half in the ring, and it culminates with a pin or a disqualification, whatever. But it culminates in the ring. Like, how is that not amazing to people? Like I get so passionate about that.
Perfect example is Bloodline. This Bloodline storyline that has us in a chokehold for 2-3 years.
I'm still
like, can we literally peel back this onion? Because the way I see it and the way that this Bloodline thing will get resolved, and I've said this so many times, is that everything that Roman is standing on, and I love Roman, I'm Team Samoan all day, but everything that Roman is standing on is going to crumble underneath him. Jay is going to turn on him and literally get all the reparations and retribution he is so deserved.
It's gonna start with Solo.
It's gonna start with Solo because Solo almost took Jay out at Backlash, which we're gonna talk about.
He's not happy with them.
He not. And Jimmy's just gonna follow Jay because it's like, Jimmy, you've been in the shadow for a while. We're gonna figure out something for you.
Right.
And then the icing on the cake, once all that is happening and Cody doesn't come and do whatever he does and whatever. And this is how I see it. Because everybody is pushing Gunther so far now. Heyman is going to leave Roman, align himself with Gunther. Gunther's going to drop that IC belt and go for the Undisputed Championship. And as much as I don't even like that, I love that. And it's like, for me, look, everybody wheels is turning every time I say that.
No. My wheels aren't turning because I definitely think, and the biggest giveaway actually is that lineup for the World Heavyweight Championship, the triple threats tonight. It's the giveaway is why isn't Gunther in that? Austin Theory's in it. Why isn't Gunther? They're setting him up for something bigger. It's something
Knight's
bigger.
Not even in that, and people behind LA Knight too.
Okay, I do. Yeah, I do love him. That's my guy. Let me talk to you for a minute. I love him. I won't. But my whole thing is they are setting Gunther up to definitely dethrone Roman, and I think like number one is he's got the built-in numbers with Imperium. Like he's got the numbers pretty much. He need one more person, which maybe they'll bring back the third dude that they fired. But like he's got the numbers. But I do think they are setting him up. But I do think the bloodline is going to crumble, starting with Jay. I think those promos between him and Sammy are just proof. Like he's planting seeds, like the same way. It's the same, and I think this is the thing people are forgetting. The same way Roman was planting seeds in Jay, now Sammy's doing the same exact thing. Yep. And it's like showing, and even though I know most people want Jay to dethrone Roman, I don't see, I would love it, but I don't see WWE having the confidence in him.
I don't even think that Jay has to dethrone him. Like,
I don't think so either.
You could put the belts on the line, or you can just even have Roman in some type of a match. Like it'll be a double heel turn or whatever. Like say they do set up the match between Gunther and Roman, and we already know Paul Heyman is sneaky, ain't good for nothing. And Jay comes out, it looks like he's about to help Roman, and him and Jimmy just like turn on Roman.
Roman, yeah.
Jimmy got caught in that Hell in the Cell quit match.
Yep.
For Jay, talking about this is Josh. This ain't Jay. Like look at me.
Yep.
So they both gotta get their lick backs, and it could be like a double, triple, however you want to call it.
My favorite thing, and I feel like this is something people don't talk about. My favorite thing about the whole entire Bloodline storyline is the fact that Paul Heyman is involved, because I get a lot of shit for this one, but like my favorite person in wrestling as far as like ideas and creative is Paul Heyman.
Oh yeah,
like,
absolutely.
He just don't let him near your money.
Oh,
but
100%.
Don't let him run no business, but let him do all the creative things. This man constantly has the best ideas, and I think the best thing they did was put Roman with him. And I 100%, he's giving away nuggets.
That's what sold me on the Tribal Chief.
He's giving away so many nuggets. Even the whole thing he said, I don't know if y'all caught his interview with Ariel, but his whole thing about like, oh, the Cody wins at the biggest payoff. And I'm like, so y'all finna hold this till WrestleMania next year? Like he's got me sitting over here thinking like, so WrestleMania is gonna be the biggest gate. He's like, the money is where you switch things. I'm like, so WrestleMania, is that where Cody's gonna complete the story? Is Cody even gonna complete the story? Like he constantly has me thinking, and I think whatever they have, I trust them. If they want Roman to have a 10-year reign, I low-key trust it. Because I don't know what payoff is going to be, but it's going to be good. And I think that's I just want people to be patient.
That's the thing. And like wrestling friends are the worst, because it's like,
well, I think she was trying to say, because I don't know what's happening over there. Wrestling fans are the worst. They're so fickle. They're literally 1 minute they all, yay, Roman, Tribal Chief, da-da-da. Next minute it's like, oh my God, give up the belt. I'm
legit
tired of it. Like, how long he gonna have it? Give it to somebody else. All right, we got Gunther over here. We got LA Knight over here. We got Cody Rhodes. Yes, Cody's coming back. Yes, he's gonna finish it and take it. And then Cody didn't do it. Oh my God, give it to somebody else. We're gonna get this new belt, put it on Seth Rollins.
And I think that's the craziest part, because I feel like, what we begged WWE for was long-term storytelling. For years, we wanted long-term storytelling. For years, they finally give it to us, and now y'all are over it. Everyone's like, "Oh, they should have pulled the trigger on Cody at WrestleMania." Why?
No.
He got hurt 3 matches in. Like, he only had 3 matches before he got hurt and had to go away for 6 months.
True.
Why?
True.
What is he's done nothing. This whole complete the story. How do you complete the story? You haven't beat nobody. You beat
didn't
Seth
beat
Rollins 3
anybody.
times. You didn't beat nobody. Now you got to go back through. And I'm like, they're trying to tell this Dusty story all over again. That's the other thing. Like, you got to make the loop. It took him 3 times to beat Rick. Now you got to make and you got to get to the back of the line every time you lose. And I'm just like, I don't get why people don't see that coming, or that, like, Cody will get there eventually, but it ain't gonna be today, and it ain't gonna be at SummerSlam if it happens.
Right. They're not that invested. Like, I feel
No.
like a lot of these fans, or a lot of the people who watch wrestling now, either they're old fans revisiting what they used to watch before and they forget about long-term booking, or the newer ones are just so impatient that they just want to see the action, and not really pay attention to the storylines behind it, the storytelling behind it. Because when Paul Heyman was coming out and talking about Dusty and Cody is having the moments, of course we was tired of seeing Cody crying, but it tied into everything. When Roman talk about, oh, did you win that? How about, did you ever compete for that one? Your father taught me everything that I needed to know, but I know he didn't teach you anything. And it's just like, why y'all coming for him? Like,
yeah, I think it's I trust the one thing I don't trust with I don't trust WWE ever when Vince McMahon is involved. But the one thing I do trust, even with him being around, is the storyline. They haven't messed it up yet. They haven't messed it up since 2020. This is the one thing that I think they are trying so hard not to mess up. And so for whatever reason, I don't know who is in charge of this, I don't believe they'll mess it up. I think they're in a position where they're letting the people who were assigned to the story actually tell the story, instead of someone else trying to come in and screw it up. So I'm with it. I'm riding out to the end. Like, tonight, I'm like, so where does Cody go next after this Brock situation? Like, what are we doing? Like, is he making his way back to Roman? Like, what's up? Like, who's next? Like, is he gonna lose to Seth with this world heavyweight? Like, what's going on? Like, I need to know these things. Like, I'm so invested in it. And I think if people spent less time trying to predict the future and more time just enjoying the ride, it would be more gratifying for everybody.
I definitely agree with that. I agree.
And like hearing you talk about, you know, how you kind of grew up watching everything and you appreciate, you know, as much as you do, like, how did you feel about the women's revolution and evolution coming to be?
Oh man, I feel like it was about 5 years too late. I feel like they didn't want to give the woman who was actually responsible for it the credit because of the way she left the company, and I'm talking about AJ Lee. I will ride at dawn for homegirl. Like, that's my girl forever and always, AJ Lee. She is the reason why the revolution came into existence. She was up there telling Stephanie McMahon about herself while in the company after her husband had just got fired by FedEx on their damn wedding day. And was letting them know, like, yo, y'all got to do better by us. I don't have nobody up here that can wrestle. You got all these girls sitting in NXT that are fire right now. You're not giving me any of them. I got to go wrestle them on NXT. What is this? Like AJ Lee willed that into the existence. They gave the honor to Paige, which, all right, I suppose, but like, AJ Lee is the reason why people like Paige are able to exist. If it wasn't AJ Lee doing this crazy kind of like embracing her bipolar disorder kind of story, granted, they shouldn't have put her in as many relationships as they did, but they didn't know what to do with homegirl. Like, AJ Lee willed that into existence. I think it was just late, but at the same time, like, it always feels like with the women's division up until now, it's progress to take step backs. Because I also think about the time where Lita and Trish headline a Monday Night Raw, and then 2 years later, we're back to bra and panties matches. So it's always like this give and take with them and women. And I genuinely feel like they don't know how to write storylines for women at all. They never have. I feel like they never will until they get more women. But seeing that lawsuit came out concerned me a few weeks ago.
Right.
So it's just like, I always have hope that, and to be fair, every company could do better. Like, AEW sucks at women's storytelling. Absolutely sucks. Like, they have someone like a Jade Cargill and they book her horribly at this point.
And the talent that you guys come across and what you can do with them,
it's like it's bad. And like, to have to have someone like a Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley and an Asuka and Io Sky sitting there, and you don't give them anything meaningful, when it's so bad, when I can say the last great storyline we've told is Mickey James and Trish Stratus, and that was a 9-month storyline in 2006, and it culminated at WrestleMania to the point of where they naturally turned on Trish and started cheering for him. That's bad that I can recall all that
Right.
information. Why don't you have better storylines? Like,
Right.
they make the women seem so 1.5 dimensional. Whereas before they were focusing on how great they look and how great they were in relationships. Now they're focusing on, oh, well, they just put on great matches. It's
Right.
like, but there's no story behind the match. Like
Yeah.
Asuka and Bianca at WrestleMania should have had way more story.
100%.
more.
And
I
then
get
also
that.
nothing followed it up either.
I get
So
that.
it's like you could almost like forgive them if then post
Yeah.
Mania was some epic shit, but then it like literally fell
It-
flat. This Trish return is falling flat as well because of
Oh
the
my
lack of
God,
story.
it's really bad.
I low key think Becky pregnant again because ain't no way you out this long. And where the hell is Lita? Come
I
on. You
100%
gotta cook
agree.
me.
I do think she's pregnant, but I also feel as though, and I feel like I haven't seen anyone say this either. I feel like one of the biggest issues right now with wrestling is too many premium live events. Like, I hate to say that, but like
Mm.
12, it just think about it in terms of story. Like when you
Mhm.
had, even in the 90s, like late 90s is when they started doing them close to every month or whatever. But at least you had, at least there would be some windows of pockets of 2 months. That's enough time to tell a good
Mhm.
story. But when you
Right.
think about it, and especially when they did the brand split, you only got 4 episodes to tell a whole story, and then you got to fight at a pay-per-view. That
4
is not enough.
episodes, 3 hours on one show, 2 hours on
Yeah,
the next show,
it's
Mhm.
with
not
about
enough.
5 to 6 matches in each show.
Exactly. It's not enough time when you break down the segments to tell these stories as good as they could be. Like it just isn't enough time anymore. Even
Mhm.
with all the time that they seem like they do
Right.
have, it's still not enough to get in everything for every. So what's gonna go first? The women's stuff. Like
Of course.
Bloodline, they getting their stuff in.
But
They
see,
getting their
but
stuff in.
that's what's unfortunate is, and I always see this with WWE, is you see the potential that they have to care about a story because the nuances in the bloodline story, like me and my sister were explaining it to one of our friends that doesn't watch wrestling, and it was so complex. Like, so it's like you guys have the potentials, you don't care to put
Yeah.
that into the women's division. And if you're not
Mhm.
good on social media, like Becky made that main event in
Oh yeah.
2019
Oh yeah.
because of social, the revisionist history, the packages that how WWE edits it. You like the Sasha and Bianca like main event, that story wasn't great either. Like homeboy
No.
that used to flip all the time was in the middle of that shit.
Yes, Reggie. Yes.
Right, but they don't show that. They edit it to make it seem like it was an epic moment, don't get me wrong, but you know what I'm trying to say?
Why my thing was, why was it not a big deal about 2 black women main eventing night 1 of WrestleMania
Period.
until the night that it happened? Like y'all knew that was happening how many
Yep.
weeks, months beforehand, and you didn't bring it up to the night that it happened. Like that's the whole story right there. And you
Yep.
gave yourself the story. I feel like, yeah, they don't have enough time to tell stories properly, and they're gonna cut the women first. I also feel like they don't know how to do it in a smart way to where they don't have to have these people fight on every pay-per-view. Like, no, you don't have to have both women's championships don't have to be defended every single pay-per-view if we're going to continue doing. That's why split brand pay-per-views were dope also, because
Mhm.
you knew you were exclusively getting one. Bring it back, please, because then it gave each brand more time between stories between pay-per-views to tell a bigger story. Like 4 episodes of TV just ain't enough if we're going to do this exclusive brand, like, and that's why this draft concerns me, because it's like if we're going to shake it up to where
That's what it was. It was a shakeup. It wasn't even a draft. Everybody that was over here went over there.
I also
Vice
miss the
versa.
graphics. You remember how they used to like randomize and like it'll pop up on the screen? Like that's the kind of I love seeing Teddy Long and JBL announce, but like I miss the excitement of like John Cena getting picked twice in a night, Triple H getting drafted to SmackDown one night, and everyone's like, "What?" Like
Mhm.
that was when they were doing some cool stuff, and I feel like now, as much as I still love them, I will never stop watching WWE. It's just
Right.
like we gotta I almost felt like they got too comfortable for too long because there was no competition.
Right.
And now I feel like AEW, even though I don't necessarily, they're not a threat. It's not competition. I
Not
think
at
they
all.
are making it seem like it is though, and then
Yeah.
giving them a serious kick in the
But also,
ass.
I'm glad there's alternatives. Period. And I feel like that's
Absolutely.
all. I feel like that's all it should be. Like it shouldn't be like this, like quote unquote war. Because I look at WWE like Disney. Like it's never
Yes.
going out of business. So
No,
good
that
luck
is
with
so
everything you're
silly
trying
for
to
people to
do.
ever think that. Like at the end of the day, you ask any wrestler, "Where's the ideal place you want to work?" They're all saying
They're
WWE. I
gonna
don't
say
care if they're,
WWE.
I don't care if they're,
They ain't
I don't
never
care
gonna
if they're
make no money.
MJF right now. Where's his dream to go? WWE.
WWE.
It just is what it is. But the fact that there is alternatives lets me know, like, yo, like you could just go watch what you like. You don't gotta call AEW a spot fest. Yes, we know it is sometimes, but some people like that. And you don't gotta
Right.
call WWE like safe and bland and vanilla. Sometimes it is, but like it's okay. It's for kids. It's PG rated. It's
I don't
PG
think it's
rated.
PG anymore.
Oh, it's PG-14 again?
No. There's no ratings right now on it.
Oh, I love that.
I love that too. Like,
Because I feel like that kind of hurt me in 08 when JBL
right? I was just like, wait, so we can't say suck it anymore? Like, we can't say we can't stick middle fingers up anymore. Like,
No, legit.
we can't like do
Shine that some bitch up.
we can't, right? Like we can't see
Turn it-
blood anymore. Like
Brock bleeding at Backlash shocked me. I don't know if it was on
Yeah.
purpose or not, but it shocked me.
But I feel like every time Brock, and it shocked me because we haven't seen blood in a while, but every time Brock wrestles in something big for the past couple of times, like not the maintenance, but like probably about 2-3 years ago, every time he hits a post, he
gonna
bleeds.
bleed. He gonna bleed. I'm like, is your
It's
skin
just
thin
like-
or are you doing this on
Right,
purpose?
like, is there a razor blade that we don't know about? Like right there? So that
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, did he blade on purpose? But I'm like, I'm still trying to figure it out. Like, I didn't see him bend down or cut nothing. So I'm just like,
he hit. And then,
yeah.
and it's crazy because once he wiped his face, the cut is so small. It's literally like
legit.
this.
I'm like, bro, does your blood not clot? Are you good? Like, I know you had to retire from the UFC because of tuberculosis, but does that have anything to do with why your
Not
blood don't clot?
tuberculosis. I thought it was diverticulitis.
Oh, my bad. Yeah,
Oh my
diverticulitis. My
God.
bad. Sorry, Brock. Don't sue me, please. I didn't mean to, not defamation, I swear.
Right. It was
But I just
something.
wondered.
Something health concerning.
Yeah, something
That's
where he
what
had
it
to have
is.
his intestine removed. I don't know which one that is, but
I think it's the large one.
yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. But like
Yeah.
I was shocked, but I also thought it added a little extra to the match, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'm like, see,
When it's done right, it's done right.
yeah,
Right.
I mean, Stone
They-
Cold and Brett at WrestleMania 13.
There you go.
Oh
There
yeah,
you
that
go.
blood was crazy.
Yeah.
Speaking of, okay, so since we're talking about like blood and like mistakes when it comes like to people getting hit in the face, there was this controversy online last week with another fellow podcast of ours, friends of ours. They were talking about Britt Baker's cookie on her eye, right? And how she made it into a shirt, and how people, they were just like not for wearing the shirt, just like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, like this is supporting domestic violence and this kind of thing. But I'm just like, one, she got it in her match against Saraya or the other one, I can't
I
think.
think Tony or Ruby.
Tony Storm. That's one. Two, of course she's gonna make a profit over it after Saraya, being the heel character that she is going to make it her
Right.
icon picture.
See, yeah, and they made the shirt, and of course, like Britt
Right, they
Baker
made
signed
the
off on
shirt.
it, but
She
it's
signed off
like,
on it.
so like the argument is if someone's wearing that in the street, that because it doesn't have a wrestling context. So the argument is like if someone sees you wearing that in the street, it looks like you're defending like this white lady is, bruised. So I feel like it's a very complex situation. So how do you feel about it?
It is complex, but I also feel like if you want to know, just ask. And if you aren't going to go through the ranks to ask me what my shirt means, what it's about, so I could tell you, oh, it's just a wrestling t-shirt, then like whatever assumptions you make up are going to be the assumptions you make up in some ways. But I do think you have to, like, in a way, be responsible or careful. Like, would I necessarily wear that, to go to the gym or go out? Maybe not. Maybe that'd be a house. That might be a house t-shirt for now. Until they maybe put some context on it, or like maybe I'm like, is there I didn't see it. Is there
But
like a
that's also, like,
catchphrase?
the thing, like,
No, that's the
if you're
thing.
a
It's
wrestling
just a
fan,
photo of
it's
a
just a
bruised
photo. It's
white
literally
girl, like her face. So there's no wrestling context to it.
But my
Ooh,
thing is that
yeah.
it's also like one of them things, like if you know, like we would know. So if we
Yeah.
wear it outside, like rock it with so me in my head, I would get that shirt. I would get it as a crop top.
I might go buy one now,
shorts,
honestly.
I thought it was dope.
Yeah, some Vans, accessorize it, and if I'm out and they be like, "Oh, that's a dope Britt Baker shirt," you know what it is and
But
who
see,
it is.
but that goes with the responsibility of wearing it, because I'm not gonna go to work now. I wear wrestling shirts to work. I'm not gonna go to work. Now, am I gonna go to Legends, a wrestling party, or a wrestling show and dress it up? Hell yeah. Now I'm not gonna wear that to like my corporate job, or like you said, I wouldn't wear it to like the gym. Just like optics. Like
I feel like I like wearing controversial stuff. So I'm just saying I probably would wear it and be like, girl, if you ask me, great. But if you don't, like, that's your business. Like, make your judgment. Or
we go ahead and assume.
Yeah, assume, because all assuming does is make an ass out of you. I don't like to use the other part because it doesn't make an ass out of me. It makes an ass out of you.
That's your problem.
But like I like you're saying that, and I'm like, dog, I want that shirt. Like that's kind of dope because I like the if you know type thing, and that's the fun part about being in the IWC is just like if you know, and if you don't, get
it's
familiar.
either you get to know, you get familiar, you leave it alone because my thing is that everybody didn't say anything when Britt Baker was bleeding profusely.
Right, she had a whole T-shirt with her bloody face on it,
and that was the shirt. Nobody said anything about that picture P has on her back with Becky Lynch after Nia Jax exploded her face.
Yeah,
and that was so mind you, right? The picture is literally her hair's turned over like this, right? And it's like this, and this eye is literally like a whole face picture. You just see the cookie under her eye. Her hair's turned over like as if she was trying to like style it and make it look cute, like some type of model-esque type photo. It's not like
she's trying to cover it up.
She's trying to cover it up. It's the whole opposite eye. It's not like she's trying to cover it up. It's not like she's trying to be like, oh my God, like playing woe is me.
Right. And then it's also like common sense. Like, do you really think I'll be wearing a domestic violence photo on my shirt?
Like I wear like BBA, B's A's. Like you think that's what I'm supporting? Like no, like I'm gonna buy one now. Thanks for putting me on because I think you should.
I think you should. I thought the shirt was dope, especially for your opponents to be your rivals to wear. I'm like, they're the outcasts. They do things that are a little like not okay.
Yeah,
like it makes sense to me.
I feel like it's cool because at the same time, like things like that happen. That goes to show how invested we are in wrestling. Yeah. Like it's not like like I said, it's not like she's playing woe is me. She's not she's playing victim. She's getting her coin off of it. It brings me back to Basketball Wives when Evelyn decided to make a shirt after calling Tammy a non-fucking factor.
Like, yo.
Like you're gonna make coin off of it. And then Evelyn was willing to give Tammy half of the money. Yeah. And Tammy was like, no, like you're not gonna sit here and da-da-da-da.
Yeah.
But if Tammy would have took it, then it'd be like, all right, cool. If Tammy and Evelyn could do it, then everybody else can do it.
Yeah.
People don't think of it like that.
I don't want to call nobody sensitive because I understand the precautions, but I also think like, again, you have to be responsible with how you're wearing the shirt, where you're wearing the shirt, but also understand that like people are going to judge you no matter what you wear. Like if I popped out in a crop top, I'm fat. So if I pop out in a crop top, people going to judge me. They're going to judge me the same for the shirt.
They're going to judge regardless.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Wrestling, unfortunately, like is one of those things where you rather get a reaction than not. So the fact that went viral, now you're about to buy the shirt. We're still talking about the shirt like 2 weeks later. And so that's really what it is.
And I think you can be safe in the fact of knowing no matter where you go, one person's gonna know. Right. So I can pull up to the gym in the shirt and I got a homie at the gym and be like, Britt Baker, and I'll be like, yo.
I was just talking to someone about that recently because I work downtown and I see someone at least once a week wearing a wrestling shirt. Like at least once a week. Like I just saw a guy wearing the Mrs. My Balls Are Massive shirt. And that could be an offensive shirt to like the same argument. I mean, it's not as extreme as the Britt Baker shirt, but like you're really wearing a shirt that says I have massive balls. So it's like, one of those things.
Oh, the Mrs. shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
which is hilarious.
It's so funny. Have you gone to any live shows? What's your best live show moment you've experienced?
Oh man, I went to the WrestleMania that was in Orlando 2008, Ric Flair's last match. Like that was it.
Wow, you were there with Charlotte. You were there with Ashley Flair.
Yes, Ashley.
Another one I can never watch again.
I can watch it because I know he went on to continue wrestling, even though he shouldn't have. As recently
I
as
cry
last
every
year.
time though, like that.
It's
emotion.
so sad. It's like
it was emotional. It was emotional. I
And
just
then
went
after
to
that, I have to watch the Raw after because that's equally as emotional.
Yes.
Y'all just like torture. Y'all like torture. That's what y'all saying. Okay, got
Pretty
it.
much.
Okay.
I just went to AEW 2 weeks ago. That was fun. I had a blast.
Oh my god, AEW shows are fun. I don't watch it, but they're so fun.
So much fun. It's the best 5 hours of your life, I feel. It's it's a long haul.
But it didn't feel that long.
It didn't.
It was actually fun as fuck.
Yeah. It was super fun. And then I want them. They haven't ran WrestleMania at Hard Rock in Miami yet because it's brand new. I want them to run the stadium, and I gotta be there. But I'm definitely thinking about going up to Philly for 40.
Come on, we all going. We're all going.
I want
trying to throw
so
a party
bad.
out there.
Right?
Like,
We are all going. I promise you, WrestleMania. I'm trying to get my friend said she don't even watch wrestling. She goes, I'll come. I said, you got to come from Thursday. You got to come for the kickoff, which is Wale Mania. Like if you don't come for Wale Mania, you come afterwards, you're really missing out. Like, are you even a wrestling fan?
Right? No, I'm totally down. I always said I wanted to go in a different city and have a good time. So like I definitely want to go. I feel like they might be running some live events in Florida soon, and I'm definitely gonna go if they do. And then I'm only like 2 hours from NXT, so whenever I feel like going, I go. Yeah, I'm only about 2 hours from the Performance Center. So yeah, I got to see a lot of those early NXT things back in like 2014, 2015 era. So yeah, I need to go back. I think who they have in NXT now is very interesting, and I want to go back and see some more.
Facts, because I'm just like,
even though they took my girl India Hartwell, I'm so sad.
I mean, but listen, we got a minute. She about to come on Raw.
I know,
hopefully have big things ahead for her.
I love Indy Hartwell, and I'm hoping that this opens the door back for Roxanne Perez to go ahead and get that title back because I love Roxanne Perez so much.
She's fun.
And we got Index back.
Yes.
Raw. Now we got Index back. So, Pablo, we just want to say thank you for joining us. This is such a fun conversation.
Come back to our Thirsty Thursday show too.
Yes, I hope this is not the last time that you are with us. When we have a Thirsty Thursday this Thursday, if you're willing to hop on and pop out, you can drink anything you want.
All right,
water, juice, whatever.
I'll be hydrating this Thursday. So.
Okay, I'm totally down.
So yes, well, y'all heard it here. Pablo will be back for Thirsty Thursday, but please let everybody know where they can find you at, where they can follow you at.
You can follow me on TikTok at Pablo the Don. It's all one word. And then you can follow me on Instagram at Pablo T Don. I'm off of Twitter these days. It's too much chaos going on over there, but I gotta keep that one separate, but no Twitter. But yeah, those are where you can find me. I want to say thank you so much. This was so much fun. Like I said, I'm so super happy that this got to be my first podcast that's related to wrestling. I will definitely be back for Thirsty Thursday. This is great. And yeah, thank you guys.
Thank you so much. And as always, you can definitely follow us, Those Wrestling Girls, everywhere. Please make sure you subscribe to our Patreon, our YouTube, our Twitch. Please make sure that you follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and make sure you can follow me on Instagram at ms_Krista_B_. That's ms_KRISTAB_ and ms_KRISTAB on Twitter. You can follow Miss Queen PR over here on Twitter and Instagram. That's Queen 3_PR. So on that note, it's your girl Krista B
and Queen PR
and the lovely, most fun person I've ever encountered in my life.
One of our favorite guests. Sure.
Thank you.
Out of here. We'll see y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
Hey, what's up, y'all? It's your girl, Krista B, one half of Those Wrestling Girls. And I just want to say thank you for tuning in to another dope episode of Those Wrestling Girls. Please make sure that you tune in and you follow us on everywhere we are. We are on Twitch. We are on Patreon, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. Please make sure you follow and subscribe. And as always, we love and appreciate you. And we can't wait to see you for the next episode. On that note, it's your girl, Krista B, and I'm out of here. Bye.
Queen PR, Krista B, Those Wrestling Girls, TWG, Black Excellence, making it effortless, podcast bringing up women and wrestling. Let's go.